Hello, everyone. Today, I'll be talking with my program mentor, Mr. Rohit Pathak Sir. Mr. Rohit Pathak is currently the CEO and head of the copper business for Hindalco Industries based out of Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. I connected with Mr. Rohit Pathak as part of my MBA program at Vedica Scholars Program for Women. So he's been my program mentor since last year. I've known him roughly for about a year. And he's had a very illustrious career. He's an engineer from BITS, and he's also an IIM Ahmedabad management graduate. He's worked in companies like McKinsey and Company and the Aditya Birla Group. He has decades of experience, and as a mentee to Mr. Pathak, I can definitely say that every time that I've approached him with a problem that I have, whether it was in the placement process, my interviews, or how like a postgraduate student life should be, he's always been there to help me. So this is a fun conversation that I'm having with Mr. Rohit Pathak to learn a bit more about him and his views on uh, job, life satisfaction, work-life balance, and other things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to know you and pleasure to interact with you. And thanks for all the kind words, Sameera.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, sir. So first thing I want to ask you is that, when you were in college, and even in IIM, which was something that you really like to study? Like what subject or what domain did you like to study in and why?
So I guess maths has been my favorite subject. I love maths. It sort of has come a bit more intuitively to me, and I was good at it. So I don't know whether I loved it and hence I was good, or whether I was good and hence I loved it. But that was my favorite subject, and I think probably because I have a bit of a logical brain, hence maybe maths is what always struck me and something that I always enjoyed doing and was a bit of my pastime in college and school.
Wonderful. So this is just out of curiosity. When you were growing up, and when you were in college, did your parents ever tell you that you have to become this or you have to go in this field, or was it something, or was it a decision that was left up to you?
No, I think so. My parents never said anything on what they think I should do. My father always guided me on saying, look, I will do my best to tell you about the different types of professions, but then it's your call. Coming from, he was an army officer, so exposure to the private world was not very high, but, he ensured that I get a sense of different professions before I took my call. So, when I finished or when I was in my 12th, I was still undecided between engineering, medical, and defense, all three as options. In our times, there weren't too many other, uh, broad professions to go for. The arts was something that I was never very uh, good at or inclined towards. Hence, that I didn't have as one of the options. But engineering, medical, and defense, all three were things that I was wanting to explore when I was in my 12th.
Right, wonderful. I think this is something that's common even today. So even when I was in high school, a lot of people were thinking of either of the two, and a lot of people still want to go in the defense sector. I think it's something that people are passionate about, right?
Yes.
Uh, my second question is, what advice would you give young business graduate school students who will soon enter the workforce? Like my batch will be entering the workforce next year. So what is something that they should focus on? And it's the second question is linked to the first part. So if you had to choose one between skill or willpower, which one should you focus on more to develop a career?
So look, on the first one, I think to me, what a program like yours does is give you a fairly decent grounding of different aspects of business, right? It's not just about the strategy, the market, the finance, the financial aspects, the HR aspects, operations aspects. So it gives you a good broad flavor of what all or different perspectives to look at from a for a business perspective, right? So I think that's a very useful grounding to have. But when you get into the workforce, all these are more just it helps you understand and look at different things, but this is not what will make you successful. So, right. So I think the things that you really learn uh, at the B school or a program like yours is how to interact with people, how to uh, work on yourself to be able to deliver a better performance than what you typically do. And some of the softer aspects about your personality, I think, which are the ones which make a bigger difference. So I think the technical knowledge that you pick up is not something that is the differentiator once you are in the. I think it's a differentiator to get into a place. But once you're in a place, let's say in ABG or in McKinsey, once you were in, we never even thought about which college they came from, right? Then you are there on equal footing. What
Right.
differentiates you is your ability to work with other people. I think that's the biggest differentiator, because finally work and business is about a team sport. It is not an individual sport, right? Except for a few professions, maybe like trading or something, which are individual centric. Most of the professions are actually team sports. So you need to be able to deliver as a team, and hence your ability to work with others, leverage each other's strengths, is actually what differentiates you more. Second, I think important thing that one looks at, or something that you should work on, is your ability to show resilience and patience. I think that to me is a very look. No business gives results in the first 3 months, right? Some
Right.
businesses and initiatives, forget businesses, but even initiatives that you drive take good 12 to 18 to 24 months before they start showing impact. And you need to be able to have the resilience and the patience to stay with it for that period of time. I think that is one area where I find over the years the current generation is not adept enough on, right? They get disappointed or disillusioned too quickly. 3 months and they say, "Oh, am I really making a difference? Am I good at this or no? Let me try something else." But I think sometimes, unless you take that patience to see something through, you may actually give up something which is actually could be a game changer, right? So I think to me that's the second part. So first is, can you work in a team and work and collaborate with others? Second is, do you have the
Patient enough.
resilience to see something through? Third, I think to me, it's very easy to say and jump jobs, right? Or jump companies.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think staying in the same company and making a difference is actually what I find personally a better approach to building a career. So I think you have to be clear: are you building a career, or are you in it only for the money, right? Because sometimes when you're in it for money, hopping jobs is actually much better and much faster growth. But building a career takes a little more patience, and then you may get to something where you've really truly created something new. So at least I find that to be more fun and joyful than the just switching jobs or earning the money. Money comes, but if you build a career well, you are a lot more satisfied. So I think that was the first question. The second question was, sorry,
So it
what was
was just
the
about
second?
like if you had to pick one, like willpower or skill, which one would you pick?
Yeah, Bill or Sil.
Yeah.
So look, when you come from a good college, or a program like Vedica or the IIMs or some of the good schools in India, the skill is sort of given, right? You assume that you have a basic level of aptitude and ability. I think what really makes a difference is your will, your attitude towards work, attitude towards fellow workers and colleagues. I think that is what makes a bigger difference in the longer run, in my view.
Right.
And your ability to learn. I think whether it's an engineering job, whether it's a management job, you don't really uh, apply what you learn immediately, right? You pick up new stuff. So I think your ability to learn quickly and then deploy it is where what makes a difference. So there is no, let's say, skill which you come in with, which is what differentiates. I think your ability to learn is more important, along with the attitude and your willpower and resilience, like I said, and increasingly the emotional quotient on, can you handle the downs as well as you handle the ups.
Right. Right, fascinating. That's very interesting to hear from you. My next question is, so tell us more about your decision-making process when you decide to recruit or hire someone, even if you don't directly hire them. Like, could you tell us what sets a candidate apart according to you? So if you get a CV, what is it that you think, okay, this person is different than the other 10 CVs that I saw today?
So, I think CV has become a bit of an art. So I think I now don't spend so much of time in looking at CVs. Normally, when I go for interviews, someone has shortlisted some CVs to go through. But I think, I find many students putting too many things on the CV, right? Showcasing everything, even some small participation here and there, they will showcase just to fill the CV. And it's almost like a race on who puts how much onto the one page of the CV,
Yeah.
right? And I think, look, you put yourself in the shoes of a screener. Many of those things people see through. So I think to me, CV is not about how much you pack into a CV, but it's about how you present yourself as a candidate, right? Are you clear? What are the two, three things that are good about you, right? And is that coming through in the CV? So I would much rather have two, three strong points that come across and that stand out versus a 10 long list of saying I'm a member of this and I'm a member of that and I'm a member of X, Y, and Z and kind of stuff, right? So I think one is sharpness and articulation on knowing yourself, right? It shows, do you really know yourself, and are you sort of trying to carpet bomb, or you have applied some thought to, how you're. So, for example, when I was applying from IIM Ahmedabad to different companies,
Yeah.
while I don't think I customize my CV, for every company, but I had customized my CV for a consulting type role versus a general marketing type role, right? Depending on what have I learned, which is useful for them. So I think that little customization when you put in your CV is, I think, important. Like I said, don't put everything, but do some filtration yourself is, I think, useful. Then, as we interview candidates or interact with candidates, to me, what I look at is one, on the basic intellect, is there, what is in the CV, is it reflected in the basic personality and the thinking of the individual? So I think you do a basic check always on the basic intellect. If you're gone to a good school, the people are generally good, so you don't need to spend too much of time on that, but at least a basic check one likes to do. But what you really look for is this a person whom I can have a conversation with, whom I see myself being able to work with, right? Or is this person someone who's too self-centric, too focused on him or herself, and may not do very well in a team setting? So I think one is, do you see this person as a good team player? Second, do you see this person as someone who's willing to learn? And because all of us know that when you're coming out of a B school or a program like Vedica, uh, you don't know everything that is required to be successful in the job, right?
Right.
You will you will learn on the job. So we are really testing for, is this person open, willing to listen, willing to uh, 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 build on your point of view or what has been told to him or her. Third is, I think, you get at least a small idea of the person's ego in the interview, right? On how they talk about others when you ask some questions. Sometimes you pose trick questions to really cull out more from the interviewee on what they think about others, and people end up trying to either show off too much or uh, portray themselves in a different light. So I think overall the big lens I use is this a person I would like on my team,
Yeah.
right, or no, right? And for that, I look for, is this person willing to learn? Is this person good to work with? can he or she present himself or herself well, and finally, is this person um, open to or is listening to you versus trying to vomit out whatever they know, right? So I
Yeah.
think those are the three, four things that I think make a difference at the interview stage.
Right. I think that's very important, especially the points you mentioned about how it's not about putting everything on the CV. And these days, I do agree that everyone just puts everything on the CV and a lot of information that's not required. I have another question related to professional networking for you. So, a lot of young students are advised to be on professional networking sites like LinkedIn. And I wanted to know how important it is to sort of build a brand for yourself on LinkedIn or any other professional networking site for young students. Like, would you think that it's a necessity now these days because everything is online and everything is digital? Or do you think it could be a combination of both? Like you could have a profile, but not always continuously, write articles or post updates because I find that I'm someone who engages with the content and I like it. And there are others in my class who are like, no, we don't want to do this, and they think it's like a additional task to them.
So look, only time will tell. I think there are enough so-called LinkedIn influencers of your age who are out there talking about the success. But I think to me, one, you have to be on it for the right reason, right? So, like for me, I go on LinkedIn because I feel I would like to share something I know, right?
Right.
Now, whether people like it or don't like it, how they respond and engage on it is is a good feedback for me to say, am I what I'm thinking does it gel with a lot of people? Yes, there is a little bit of uh, art and science behind how you build the engagement around a post. But I think the basic intent, at least for me, is I have a certain experience, and or let's say sometimes it's work related. There is something that is good that has happened, which I would like to share with people in my network, right?
Right.
And then depending on the engagement, I get a sense of what's useful to others and not useful to others, right? So many times, for example, when I mentor students like you and or even just have a conversation with some who may not be mentees, but they are come to me for some questions. If I find there is something which is relevant for a larger audience, I try to put it out in a way where it can help others. So I think that to me, I find works for me.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think, so it should be, at least I feel social media, like any form of communication, is a medium where you should go when you want. You should not be on it because you want to be on it, and then create content, to be on it, because then you lose the core essence of why you're doing it, right? So at least I feel better that you go there for a specific purpose. Yes, there you will have some other benefits because of that, which is fine. But let's say for some of you just starting off in your careers, yeah, it's good to be sharing a little bit about your journey. Many others will let's say be in similar situations like you have been in your education so far, and that information, that knowledge and that thinking may be useful. Many will connect with it, so that's fine. But sometimes I find people getting too preachy around it, right? Oh, how did I crack this first $1 million job, or how did I join a startup, or how did I create my own LinkedIn brand? I find that a little, to be honest, a little artificial, right? Because you at that stage don't have that much of experience, and you may end up misleading a lot of people because you
Yeah.
don't know the consequences of what you're doing
I
yet,
I understand.
right?
Yeah.
But people will get swayed by saying, oh, let me create a LinkedIn brand. But for what? What is your brand? Do you really know what brand you want to create on LinkedIn?
Right. It's actually reminding me of a very funny incident. So recently, I won't take the name of the influencer, but there's a LinkedIn influencer, and they were just preaching about how you should leave your job and do something else. And he
Yes.
wrote this post about, leaving your full-time 9 to 5 job and doing something else. And there were so many comments below his post, and they were saying, that's not really practically possible for a lot of us. A lot of us need to have that job, and you should not falsely advertise your own propaganda. Like, if you want to do a
Yes.
startup, you
Yes.
can do a startup, but you shouldn't go and
Yeah.
kind of put that on others. But I think I personally really, really like LinkedIn as a professional networking site, and I really enjoy reading all the articles and all the professional advice that I find on LinkedIn. And I also feel that people who have a lot of high followers on LinkedIn, there's a reason for it. Like, maybe people like their content, they like to engage with it. That's why there are high number of followers for that. And yeah, so I want to
Yeah.
thank you for your time. Thank you so much for taking out the time
No,
from
so
your schedule to do
since
this.
this is an important topic, I'll just share. So look, I think if you say, are you building a brand, right? I think to me, a brand can last only if it is built on an honest reflection of what you are, right? Uh, as long as you're honestly sharing what your experience is, it's perfectly fine, right? I think it's a good thing to do. But if you start doing it, it's where you honestly don't believe, but you're doing it because what you think will go more viral, then you are blurring the line between honesty and propaganda. And I think yes, initially the propaganda may sound a lot more viral and may do much better, but somewhere then you are compromising your own brand. So I think to me that fine distinction is very, very important to maintain. uh, and like you said, I would say don't mislead people onto things. Yes, you can share what worked for you, but like we see in anything, external appearances can be very, very different from what they're internally going through. And hence I think to me, for people who are engaging on the content, you should also apply that filter in your mind to really take away the right things from the post that you get or that you read, and not get swayed so easily on saying, oh, this sounds exciting, let me go and do and follow that person, because you don't know what the challenges or what the struggle that person may have gone through to get to where they are. And are you really up for it is something that you should know.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, like you said, like, that's the external life. We don't know internally what they are experiencing, what is happening. Externally, everything is usually
Yes.
very good. Internally, you don't
Yes.
know too much. Right.
Yes.
Rohit sir, thank you so much for your time. I think we've covered a lot of interesting topics, and I'm very excited to share our conversation with my batch. Thank you
Sure.
so much,
Let
and
me
I
know
hope.
what they think. Let me know what they think, and if there are some follow-up questions, happy to address.